On the 14th of November 2017, the Creative Assembly announced Thrones of Britannia as the first of their Total War Saga series, and in my opinion each Saga title to release will be doomed from the moment development begins. I want to make it clear, although I did not like Thrones of Britannia overall, I do like the idea of Saga titles, and I am looking forwards to Total War Troy. But I do feel the series is doomed, at the very least, always to struggle and to be always fighting an uphill battle. Here is why. First of all, let's try and define what a Saga title is meant to be, going by what CA's intention for the series is. A Saga title is a standalone game that takes elements from the previous main title to create a smaller, simpler and focused story. The current sagas are Thrones of Britannia and Fall of the Samurai. Thrones fits the definition perfectly, yet Fall of the Samurai does not, as Fall of the Samurai was created long before CA had the idea for saga titles and was only changed due to marketing reasons. It does not really fit the definition, as I said earlier, of a saga title going forwards, which is an important thing for this video, and so I will not count Fall of the Samurai on this list. I will however count Napoleon Total War and Attila Total War, as they do fit the definition perfectly, and if they were to be released today, they would have been saga titles. So, that is 3 examples to go off that fit the definition: Napoleon, Attila and Thrones. Let's go back to my definition, and one key element is they take elements from the previous main title: Napoleon from Empire, Attila from Rome 2, and Thrones from Attila. Now let's look at the main weaknesses of each of those titles. Empire Total War released as a buggy mess and still is not entirely fixed to this day. Napoleon released based off that game's engine. First of all, development must have been an uphill battle from the start, as they were working from a broken example, Empire. This, however, they overcame, as it was a simpler and more focused style of Total War, based off Napoleon and just mostly Europe. However, because of this, the game was described as a clone to Empire, creating negative reviews. Overall, Napoleon was an uphill battle from the start and was accused of being a clone. Rome 2 was a buggy mess. Attila Total War released based off that same game engine. It had an uphill battle from the start. Now the game succeeded by being a simpler version of Rome 2, with it being more of a focused campaign and fewer factions and all that. Wow, did anyone else just experience deja vu? Like, they're both the same game in a way, with a backstory and development. Although it was not really called a Rome 2 clone to the extent that Napoleon Total War suffered, Rome 2 was clearly present. Same graphics, same AI, same diplomacy style and a load of other stuff. It was criticised for its simplicity, Attila this is, some saying that the focusing on something simpler made the game lack some elements that were present in Rome 2. Overall, Attila was an uphill battle from the start, and some reviewers complained that it was lacking features. Thrones of Britannia was heavily criticised from the start for looking too similar to Attila, many calling it just a DLC and others going as far as just calling it a mod. The campaign gameplay also lacked many features compared to the last games. Overall, Thrones was described as being an Attila clone and lacking features. There's a clear pattern here. Each point made by the players and their critics in their negative reviews were always comparing the game to its predecessor. Saga titles will always experience the same fate here, as their sole nature is to be like the last, to reduce development cost. The game is either similar enough where it is called a clone and the same issues are present, or it is too different and made simpler, but then people complain about it lacking features. Each Saga title will continue in this endless loop with no escape, as it is always based off another title. They cannot really build on the last title, as that would increase development cost and that's not its purpose. They can't keep it the same, otherwise it will be called a clone, and they can't take stuff out, otherwise people will say it's lacking features. The very nature of the Saga style that CA has created dooms it from the moment it enters production. And for those who think the solution to this will be to not have the game based off another game, then that just breaks the point. That would be too big of a project and would cost more. These Saga titles are meant to be a cheaper, low production cost version of Total War, yet many fans will always treat it as if it's a new, full release title, a normal title if you want. The system of Total War and what players expect is too deeply entrenched in our minds, and it will be difficult to get people out of that and to expect less of a Saga title because of its name. That's going to be a difficult mentality to try and get the consumers used to. As I said, I love some of these games and I'm excited for Troy. I am just stating why I think the series will struggle and explain why many of the Saga titles going forwards will get bad reviews, and this probably will never stop in some endless loop. So yeah, although it sounds negative, it's not a hate video. I'm going to provide one idea of a possible solution later on, but I just want to make it very clear. I do like it, but I think the idea ultimately in the end will fail. So let's move on into my prediction of Total War Troy. They will start showing gameplay. This will look a lot like Three Kingdoms Total War, with the heroes, the graphics, the engine, everything will look very similar. Instantly people will see it as being a clone and start hating on it from launch. The same comments in the trailers I'm sure will arise again, some people mocking it from the very start saying it just looks like a mod of Three Kingdoms, like what people said about Thrones being a mod of Attila. I saw a lot of those comments in the trailers. By release, I think the devs will try and fix the main issues Thrones had and try and add some features to the campaign side, like the resources mechanic we've heard a little bit about, but I think overall it will still be lacking in one area or another. As the game is meant to be, it's meant to be a smaller version, it's got to be lacking. Many of the turn-offs for people from the last title, Three Kingdoms, will also be turn-off for the fans of Troy. If people don't like the mythology, they're not gonna like Troy. If people don't like the heroes mechanic, they're not gonna like Troy. Anything that's in Three Kingdoms that you don't like, there's a chance you probably won't like Troy. Just a chance, not a guarantee though. I didn't like Three Kingdoms that much. To me, Three Kingdoms was an okay game, but I really do think I'm gonna enjoy Troy, from what I've seen and heard so far. Total War Troy will have things going for it, and it will sell, and I and you may well enjoy it. But the game will be criticised from the very start due to the reasons mentioned earlier, and will suffer because of this in its lifetime, doomed to fight an uphill battle from the start. If they succeed in this uphill battle, then good job to CA. They have done it before with, I think, Napoleon and Attila. You know, still, it was complained at quite a lot, but I think in the long run, those two games have done quite well and are still kind of fun to play. But it's done a bit tough for them to do it, especially with Troy. Now that's my opinion, but what can be done to help the Saga titles? I see the main issue being the devs trying to sell the game as its own standalone title, but it being too similar to the last and two bare bones that people don't see it the same way. One way they could save it, for the fans and the reviewers, would be to advertise it as an expansion, but one that does not need the base title, like Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai. Maybe if they had Empire Total War, Napoleon Saga, or Rome 2 Total War, Attila Saga, then maybe it wouldn't have been criticised as heavily. Make it like £10 less. Naturally people will expect it to be on the same engine, be kind of a clone, but can they hate CA for it when it's like made that clear that that's what it is? I think that could work. Well, it would be difficult for Troy, like Three Kingdoms Total War, Troy. That clearly does not fit there, but going forwards this idea could work. Imagine they release Medieval 3 Total War, on a brand new engine. Then they have their usual expansions and DLCs that show the medieval world during different eras, like they're doing with Three Kingdoms Total War, and then they have some faction packs and the usual DLC stuff that we're used to seeing. But then Medieval 3 Crusades, a Total War Saga, or Medieval 3 Cortez, a Total War Saga release. Have them as expansions, however, ones that don't require the base game. That way CA can sell them as a new title at the same price of a Saga title that they want to. But fans will know from the very start what it is and to expect the same engine, the same backbone mechanics from the last title. Because it literally does have it in its name, so it's not like CA is trying to sneak it in there. They make it very clear what it is. And I think that could really help calm some fans down about it and help prevent a lot of the negative reviews. Either way, this is just my opinion. I believe that given the Saga title's nature, they will always be fighting an uphill battle, and this is going to hurt the Saga series, in my opinion, which is a shame because I do kind of like the idea, but I just think they need to approach it differently. And the many negative reviews Thrones have received, and other Saga titles will probably receive going forwards, will add up over time and press an, in my opinion, unnecessary negative light on the Saga series. I've been Melkor. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and goodbye.